1, 2. So, 1, 2. I hope you can hear me. So, Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro was in Nyeri a few days ago, and he was talking to a group of business students in Nyeri, and he gave advice, investment advice to the business people who were there. Some people say they were students, others say they were business people, but the speech that he gave there and the advice that he gave there went pretty viral, and that's what we're gonna react today. And I'm gonna tell you my top 10 picks and what I learned from his investment advice. Okay, so we're gonna watch it together, and then I'm gonna tell you what I think. Do I agree with him? Do I disagree with him? Because he's known for his investments, right? He's known for making good investments. So his investment advice is pretty significant and pretty important. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. That's what I'm going to be reacting today. So I'm gonna take you in this journey with me. Where may invest and what have you invested in? And if you've watched this speech before, or this sasa Bentham goal, yes? No. It's not Premier League. Aujaona hapo title. Premier League sinarudi this weekend. Ama kuna game leo. I didn't see kama kuna game leo. I think the game itakuwa weekend. So tutapatana weekend. Leo kuna hii video yenye Ndindi Nyoro amefanya, and that's what I wanna talk about, right? Because imeenda viral na wasee wame vibe nayo na advice amepeana. We Bentham goal umeinvest na umeinvest in what? Because that's what hiyo ndio kenye nilikuwa nime prepare leo. First, let me just check that my audio is fine and it's okay. Talk about, right? Yeah, my audio is good. My audio is all right. Okay, without further ado, if you're new here, please like and subscribe. Let's get into Ndindi Nyoro's financial advice. So huku ni Nyeri, okay? Na hii event ni kama imesponsoriwa na Kingdom Bank. Kama unajua Kingdom Bank ni branch ya cooperative, right? Na kuna watu wanaitwa Expo. I don't know what Expo is. Na Ndindi Nyoro was he was the chief guest, okay?
Tunaweza keti tafadhali. Our senior pastor, Reverend Kimathi, and all the other clergy who are here this morning for CBF. Our main guest, Dr. Wale.
Maybe let me wacha tu nisonge mbele cause Zipa hata alikuwa anaongea mambo ya politics.
Teenagers are building businesses with AI while the only AI you know is ChatGPT.
Let's be real. Most people over
Because we are here to share about business, entrepreneurship, creating value. I am sure there are other forums for the other hat that I wear in terms of politics.
Yeah.
And I am at home completely because I keep saying that anytime I am reading or interacting in any issue around investments, about business, about
so hii forum ilikuwa kuongea kuhusu mambo na investments.
I feel like I am in holiday. So this morning I have come for holiday here in Nyeri. Because talking about money is not something very bad. It is something good.
Yeah.
And I want to laud the church, CITAM, for giving us this opportunity as business people.
So hii event ilikuwa inafanyika CITAM Nyeri. Yeah, that's where the event was taking place. So I wanna try to move ahead ndo tuanze kwenye alikuwa anapeana hizo mambo na hizo advice.
National Assembly, I can hear there are some people from Kiharu here. All of the work. Also, we have started like 7 new day schools. We don't actually permit in excess counties in Kiharu, it's large. We have over 2. We are here as entrepreneurs.
Okay.
We are here as investors. But sometimes do you quip to ask yourself what is the difference? What are you? Because there must be a reason.
So hapa alikuwa anasema like there is a difference between an entrepreneur, an investor, and a businessman. People think that ziko the same, but an entrepreneur and an investor and a businessman are 3 different people. They can be the same person. You can be an entrepreneur, a businessman, and an investor, but they are not the same thing. That's what he was talking about. Na nikiuliza hapa ChatGPT, if we ask ChatGPT what an entrepreneur is, itakuwa kama, acha tuulize ChatGPT what's the difference. What is what's the difference between an entrepreneur, inaspelewa hivyo, comma, businessman and an investor? What's the difference? Acha tusikie ChatGPT tatuambia aje. Good question. These 3 terms often overlap. Can you guys see? Let me just good questions, right? These terms often overlap but not exactly the same. Here is a clear breakdown. Entrepreneur, a person who identifies an opportunity, takes the risks to create something, a new product, service or business model, and builds it from scratch. So entrepreneur ni ule mwenye anafanya kitu from scratch. Okay, anaona there is a gap somewhere, alafu ana venture out to create it, ana venture out to create a solution for that problem from scratch. So an entrepreneur is someone who is innovative, is creative, ako willing to take risks, na ana problem solve, right? For example, Safaricom is an entrepreneurial venture because it solves issue ya telecommunication, that hakukuwa na good telecommunication, mtu akaona hiyo nini. M-Pesa also is an entrepreneurial pursuit kwa sababu the problem was, how do Kenyans send money to each other over phone? Usishinde ukituma cash money. So that's in a nutshell when entrepreneur mwenye anaona a problem, maybe ana develop an app to solve it, tuseme kama Uber. That's an entrepreneurial venture. Lakini businessman, okay, wacha tuone who is a businessman? A person engaged in commercial, industrial or professional activities to make profit. So a business person not necessarily invent anything, like create anything. Yeah, basically ako there to make money. Okay, so anaweza chukua existing business or an existing model of business and make profit. So most people actually ni businessman. Kama unachukua kiatu Kamukunji, unaenda unauza Uptown, unaongeza markup yako, unaongeza hiyo profit margin yako, that's you are a business person, right? Kama unachukua vitu Gikomba alafu unaenda unauza mahali kwingine, then you are a business person. So the difference between an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur, ana spot a gap in the market, ana create a solution for it. But a business person is all about the profit making. An entrepreneur will also make profit, but yake ni more innovation, creativity trying to create something that was not there. Okay, business person, it doesn't really matter what it's about. Yeah, tu ni profit. Ako in the business of making profit. How about an investor? A person who allocates money into businesses, assets, or projects with the expectations of financial return. So investor naye, yeye hataki kujua mambo ya business, hataki kujua mambo ya profit. Yeye tu anataka nikikupea pesa yangu utanirudishia ikiwa mingi. Unaelewa? So basically hausiki sana na the day to day activities of the business. So yeye tu anataka nimekupea pesa, nimekupea 50 bob, nataka unirudishie ikiwa 75 bob, right? And banks and people with extra capital, they are known for this, okay? They are known for investing. So they will set their surplus. For example, if you go to a bank to get a loan for your business, the bank really, yes, they would like that you are profitable, but it really doesn't matter whether you are profitable or not. It just matters, unaweza nilipa pesa yangu yenye nimekupatia. So that's basically the difference between those three things. And that is what Ndindi Nyoro was talking about hapa. Ebu tusikie.
Why in the dictionary there is a different word for being a businessman, for being an entrepreneur, for being an investor.
Right.
Because if it meant the same, then it will be one word or one definition.
That's true. So venye tumeona.
So this morning, we need to trace ourselves so that we find whether we are in the right locus. But then we know that Nyoro is a politician. Why was he invited? In brief, I actually started business earlier than politics.
Okay. So at this hapa anapeana life story yake ya venye aliget to where he is, right? Na for him, he's an investor, right? Hiyo ndio what he's known for. Venye alinunua shares KPLC na venye akakuwa famous, right? So that's what he's known for. And that's so anatupatia life story yake from when he started and how he became this investor.
I had my first kiosk, class 6.
Class 6 alikuwa na kiosk yake ya kwanza.
Stories of I started a pig farm with an apple or no. That's not what I'm doing. Out of necessity, from a mud house, from a father who was living in Kiadutu slums in Thika, and a peasant farmer mother, and in a family where the only person who had a car was my uncle, maternal actually. After studying my uncle's life,
why do farmers go for expensive credit? It's because they have to wait longer to get paid. So first of all, how do you...
I actually saw that he never progressed with education so much. So I thought I can take a shortcut like my uncle. Hakuna haja ya kujichosha na masomo. He was driving a KUI. He had never been to high school.
So anko yake hakumaliza high school na alikuwa na gari. I think we've had so many stories of this. Like being a business person has nothing to do with your education or how smart you are, or starting a business is about taking risks and creating something that was not there, right? Or creating profits and so I think it's a common thing that most business people huwa tunaona, like most business people to get where they are, really masomo did not really, yes, they hire the right people, they hire educated people, but what Ndindi Nyoro is basically trying to pass here is just because you failed in education does not mean that you will fail in business. Not si ati watu smart tu ndio wanaanzisha biashara, but it does require ukwe smart pia.
Go buy some shopping hapo nyumbani kwetu kwa fence, nikakata nikaeka ka kiosk asanti. But of course in class 6 when you have 200 bob in your pocket, there is nothing a mathematics teacher can tell you. So because I could not listen very keenly, my education ikaanza kwenda chini, ama grades. And my godmother, mwenye alinisimamia nikibatizwa, was my teacher and my village mate called Mrs. Karanja. So at the time wakati my father came from Kiadutu, he used to come over weekends. Kamwambia, your son is good, lakini masomo inaleta shida kwa sababu ya duka. So my father forced me to liquidate, but he was kind enough to actually pay me for the entire stock, which was just around 600 shillings.
Okay, so I know, like, sometimes, like, tuna wonder, like, kwa nini when business people wanna invite you kuongea, like, the first thing they do, they talk about they talk about what they have done and how they talk about how they started. Okay, and for the longest time, if you don't understand why they say this, you might think that they are bragging, but I get it, like, why they talk about venye walianza, because you'll find that the thing that the most important thing, I think, in life or in business or in anything, is just starting. Okay, ukianzisha kitu tu, ukianza tu kabisa na uanze tu, hata kama hata kama haitakuwa perfect, hata kama itakuwa iko na faults, hata kama itakuwa iko na blemish, but just that act of starting, okay, inakuput ahead of so many people, because first of all you get to learn and understand ni nini hii ambayo unataka kufanya. So when he is talking about class 6 alianzisha biashara out of necessity, okay, the most important part kwa hii story ni alianzisha, he got a taste of what is business and what business can be like, because it's one thing to see your uncle who has been successful in business and who has been doing it for a long time and who has a car and wanting and dreaming that, and then you actually go and start something and then you realize, oh, it's nothing like unajua unafikiria tu nitaanzisha na itakuwa, but ebu anzisha ndo uone, because sometimes you find that the problems are different. Mashida zenye you think zitakuwa si mashida zenye ziko ukianza. For example, kama mimi na streaming, right? Because I thought about, nitafanya streaming nini, and of course nilikuwa nimeona watu kama Ogobina wana stream, Jalas used to stream, and I'm like, I think I can do something like this. But sasa unaona there is a huge difference. Kama for example, I cannot get the artist and the influencers that Ogobina anawapata sahi. Unaget? So I have to get creative. I have to get like lazima ni tweak mambo so that ikue. So unaona, like if I was Ogobina, I would have brought an influencer or somebody, but before nifike hiyo level, right, na nimesema mambo ya streaming, I have to adjust, but singejua hiyo kama singeanza. Juu ningekuwa nasema streaming ni rahisi tu, unaleta tu influencer, unaleta tu mtu famous, mnafanya video but it's not about that. It's about creating a program. Na ndio maana kama nafanya football, nafanya mambo ya kuongelea what is trending, naongelea like trying different avenues to see what sticks. So I think the most important thing enye nimelearn from life story yake, na why most business people when they give their life story they always start with how they started, ni to emphasize the importance of starting, because when you start you get a taste and now you get to understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. Because unaweza sema biashara ya hardware, watu wa hardware wanapatanga do, mimi nataka kuanzisha biashara ya hardware, but iko like until hiyo moment yenye utaanza kutafuta capital, utafute location na uanze hiyo biashara ya hardware, ndio utajua like hata kama unaonanga watu wa hardware iko na do, but iko na challenges zake zenye ni different that you might not be able to foresee kama haujaanza. Unaelewa? So when you have an idea or when you want to do something, just start. You know, the most important thing is to start. Si mambo na capital. Usianze kusema ati sina do. Usianze kusema ati sina knowledge. Ati hii ni ya watu kadhaa. Hii ni ya specific people. No. Ebu you start it and then uone venye kutakuwa. Unaona? Because iko like, do you even want that thing? Because some people wanaweza sema, mi nataka tu kuanzisha biashara. But iko like, until uanzishe hiyo biashara ya, for example, ya kuuza viatu, and then you realize hata sina passion ya kuuza viatu, ama sijui kuuza mambo ya viatu, ama sijui mambo ya viatu na spendi mambo ya viatu. Unaelewa? So when you just start something, you can be able to tell whether you like this thing or not. And for most people tunakuanga stuck in our minds, and we are stuck in our ideas. Zile zenye tuko na my ideas, but we have never, hatujai execute, hatujai put it into anything. So tunaendanga tu tukiambia watu stories za ajabu. Unajua mimi ukanipatia tu 500,000 saa hii naweza anzisha hardware. You don't need 500,000 to start a hardware. Mimi ukanipatia tu 50,000 naweza anza kufuga kuku. No. Unaanza kufuga kuku before upate hiyo 50,000. So that's why for me na feel history yake akiniambia mambo ya venye alianza is so important, because just starting something is one of the most important things, kwa sababu inaenda ikiendelea ikiget into what's next. Haya, tuendelee.
Then I progressed, nikamaliza hapo. Nikaenda Kiapugi Secondary School. It's just neighboring our place. And I'm saying this because it was more out of necessity. Okay. From my first year hapo, from 1, nikaanza kuwa cobra wa kushona viatu. And those who are there can attest. These are not stories where we only give as politicians. This is real stories. So I started mending shoes, progressed later into running school kiosk. School kiosk was being run by clubs, drama club, science club, officials. So I made sure I vowed to be an official in almost all the clubs, so that I ran the canteen uninterrupted, so that we could buy some bread for the club, and of course some for ourselves to get the profit, and then to make the ends meet. Later on in my 3rd year, my Form 3, Form 4, my elder sister had a mutumba in Thika. Maybe that's where I got the courage ya kuongea mbele ya watu sana. Because in my over holiday I used to go to Thika. Pahali inaitwa Mukereti, wenye mnajua Thika. Saa hii kumejengwa manyumba mrefu. But before it was a market. So I used to sell mutuba there. Kumi ni bao bei ni ya kufunga. Nguo za watoto especially I used to sell. University, when I was joining KU, I had 2 goals. One,
na venye unasema hapa ndio unasema the importance of starting, okay? Because you see, after alianza anaweza ona venye iliendelea ikaendelea venye baba yake alifunga duka yake, haku get discouraged, okay? Ali realize this is something that I might actually be interested in. So anaweza kutrace looking back venye hiyo passion ya akianza akiwa 6 years old venye ili lead to akiwa high school venye ilimbidi akwe captains so that aweze kufanya biashara, venye akitoka venye alikuwa anafanya kazi na sister yake, okay? Na ikabidi aingie akwe public speaker, mambo ya kuuza mtumba. So like you can see, once umeanzisha kitu ina lead to the next step and the next step and the next step. Unaget? So that is the huge part about kuanzisha something. Start something.
One was to deepen my leadership. But number 2 is to expand in terms of business. So when I joined KU...
So venye hadi anaingia university, by this point ashajidiscover na akajua hii kitu ya biashara ina make sense kwangu. And of course for him also leadership was also something. Of course hapa tunaongea kuhusu business, hajatuambia how his story na leadership ilikuja, but we can get a sense of why he decided to go into business.
My first year, first help, I paid for my school fees for the whole year for KU. But the second semester help in the same first year, I, number one, started a kiosk. Those who are from KU, you know KM. I started a hotel there, and I called it Vatican Cave. But, and I remember one time, it was Valentine's Day, we had gone to buy sufurias with the person I had.
Okay, for me hapa, what I get from here ni mambo na passion, okay? This is the second thing that I got. The first thing ni just start, okay? The second thing ni mambo na passion, okay? Because at this point, you can tell how hard he's trying. So, ndio, I ensure kitu ya biashara ina work, if it makes sense. Because, after alianza, na anaona, hii kitu ina make sense. Hii kitu ina make sense. So, in everything that he's doing, okay, amekuwa passionate about business. So, unapata, akipata help, analipa school fees, but also anachuna ndio anzishe biashara. Okay? That's where I'm talking about passion. Because si kila mtu anachukua help yake anaende anzishe biashara. By this point, he had already discovered akona hiyo passion ya business. So, anything that he's doing, anywhere that he finds himself, anajipata akilean towards business. So, this is the second thing. Passion. Do something that uko passionate about. Coming up through your life, ukigrow, kuna zile vitu zenye ulikuwa una lean towards. Kama ni mambo na film, kama ni mambo na business, kama ni mambo na medicine, kama ni mambo na lawyer, kama, you know, you have to do something that you're passionate about. Okay? Because kuanzisha anything ama kufanya anything isimame is very, very hard. Ni ngumu. Like, doing anything successful is hard. So you might as well be passionate about it, because if you're not passionate, you're going to quit. Okay? Because so far, unasikia hizo ma business ventures zote zenye ameanzisha, hakuna enye ime work up to that point. Unaelewa? But every time anapata to do, anafikiria, I should start this business. I should start this business. You get? So, passion is a very, very important ingredient when it comes to mambo na success, and when it comes to mambo na business, entrepreneurship, and starting something. You have to be passionate about what you do. I have to be passionate about mambo na streaming. Otherwise, nita stream leo, kesho niseme, hii mambo ni ngumu, I only have one viewer, nobody is watching me, so I don't want to do that. But you have to dig deep. You have to be passionate about kitu yenye unafanya. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very hard for you to go through. As much as you are good at something, usichague tu something because you are good at it, because yes, you are good at it, but if you don't love it, if you don't like it, zile masiku zenye they are going to be terrible and redundant, because you'll have those days where mambo haiingiani, vitu zinajirudia, vitu zinabo, but unless uko passionate with what you are doing, you're not going to be able to succeed in it. Wacha turudi. Okay.
Borrowed some money ya kuanza hiyo kahoteli.
So unaona hadi anaomba pesa, haogopi kuomba pesa, because you know, some of us we are afraid to borrow money.
That hotel of mine. Then Wamwere told me I have a girlfriend, alikuwa anauza phone accessories around.
So hapa alianzisha biashara na beshte yake.
Sisi kaka yuzi tu hapo karibu matatu, tukaenda tukisalimia girlfriend ya Wamwere. When we reached there carrying sufurias, the lady was looking at us like she does not even know us. Later on, Wamwere was dumped. This was the main reason. Kwa council ya wazee, this was the main reason. Number one, we didn't know it was Valentine's Day. So, he ought to have gone to see the girlfriend in a different manner. But number two, Wamwere had already told the girlfriend that he's doing he's doing a degree KU ya teaching na some economics huko katikati. So the lady was wondering, hii ni B.Ed gani na economics gani watu wananunua sufuria? Kwani ni home science? So of course we started that business na tukafanya hapo. The classmates used to come eat. After eating they tell me tuonane class. And they know I used to skip a lot of classes because of that hotel. So out of my classmates who are here, I'll tell the chief if he's around, you made my hotel collapse. Then the same year, because I was determined, nikitoka mashinani, mi naenda.
You hear? So this is what we're talking about, passion. Okay? Because you can see, despite the constant failures and failing up to this point, you can still hear in his voice, he's saying, I was determined. You cannot be determined if you're not passionate about what you're doing. If you don't like what you're doing, it's going to be very, very hard for you to be determined in whatever you're doing.
First of all, to polish my leadership, but also to look for money. Yo ikaanguka hoteli. The same semester, I decided to vie as a student leader in my first year as Congress person in the School of Humanities in KU then. So I vied, lost by 4 votes. Then I was wondering, I think nitaacha hii kiberebere because hoteli imeanguka ndio hii.
And this is what I mean about mambo na passion, because iko like things are gonna get tough. You get, things are going to be tough, but you have to be able to dig deep and keep pushing and keep doing, kwa sababu hakuna mtu mwenye ati amezaliwa akijua mambo na business, akijua mambo na leadership, akijua mambo na politics, akijua mambo na medicine, you know. But iko like when you find something that you love, when you find something that you're passionate about, you can be able to weather the tough days. You can be able to dig in the tough moments.
Hapo shule ni kama nimeanguka pia. There is something that happened in my second semester in KU. My sister, anaitwa Esther, came to visit. I think she was the first person relative to visit me in campus. You know, sisi watu wa hiyo age, kitoka mashinani now you become a breadwinner. Sio kupiga simu tumiwe pesa, ni wewe utume help. So my sister came to visit, elder sister. I was so broke. I had started a hotel through my help and some borrowing from Wamwele. It had collapsed. I had vowed to be a student leader. I hadn't made it. We were so broke tukienda kumaliza semester, we could barely afford a meal. So with my friend Jemo, who was either my roommate or next, hapo tu karibu, he was one of my best friends. So my sister came to visit, brought us meat, nyama, and we were so broke. Then we decided with Jemo, tukifanya hesabu ya kwenye semester imebakia, kula nyama inatuumiza. So we decided to sell the meat.
And this is a thing also about passion. When you are in that state of passion and doing something that you love, you'll always, you know, for example, kama mimi ni na mambo na YouTube, right? Most of the times I'm just thinking about something YouTube. When I get an opportunity, niko like, oh, how can I do this for YouTube? Nikitoka hapo nje and I'm like, hii naweza ifanya aje ikue content, hii naweza geuza hii kitu ni stream aje hii kitu, how can I do this idea, how can I, you get, because you're in that mindset of, okay, I like what I'm doing, so I wanna. So if you see what he's saying, he feels like alikuwa ame give up, but an idea inakuja, sister yake amemletea nyama, tuuze hii, you get, you cannot always switch it off. You just want to do more and more and more. So it's very important to be passionate about what you do.
So that we can push some days kukura ugali na matoto. So that first semester, long vacation. Hapa unamaliza mwaka uende second year. Of course, me, I had decided sirudi mashinani. So my uncle akanipea kanyumba hapo Lang'ata. I used to go mguu mpaka town. Nikapata some internship in the Ministry of Trade. But then when I was loitering...
Okay, so this brings to the third thing that I learned from this investment class, right? Mambo na persistence, okay? When something doesn't work, okay, what do you do now? Because if you hear, ile duka ilianguka. Amefika KU, amefungua restaurant, imeanguka. Anajaribu student leadership, inaanguka. Anajaribu this, inaanguka. But persistence, keep going, okay? As much as it is important to start and be passionate, you must keep going. Kwa sababu venye tunasema, the road is tough. So you have to keep going. Hata kama ni ka step, hata kama ni kukimbia, hata kama ni polepole, like you have to keep moving. Only the people who keep moving are the people who get there. So in anything that you want to start, and this is not only in investment, but also in business, also in life. Ebu anza. After umeanza, ebu endelea. Pole pole. You don't have to, because what happens is we look at watu wengine na how good they are doing, and then una give up. Unaangalia at someone else, you're like, na huyu anafanya poa, una give up. But iko like, ebu, unajua, kuna hii story tulikuanga tunapata tukiwa high school. Ile ya the miner, okay? Somebody, a miner mwenye aliambiwa kwa hii shamba kuna diamonds, but ziko huko chini, okay? And then this miner goes and digs and digs and digs, but haoni diamonds. Anaendelea akidig haoni diamonds. So anafika mahali yako like, hiki tu imenishinda. Alafu anaambiwa kuna gold some other area. So what you can do, you can sell this one and then go buy that other land and then dig the gold, okay? And the miner says, sasa juu hapa hii inashindikana, hizi diamonds hazipatikani, wacha niuze hii shamba niende nione kama gold itapatikana. And he sells this land to another person, another miner, and that person anaingia hapo anaona, this guy was digging for something, and he digs, and just a few meters there the diamond is found. So iko like all this guy had to do was just dig kidogo 250 meters and you'll find all your diamonds. They are there waiting for you. Sasa wewe umeenda kudig gold ingine, umesahau hii project yako ya diamond. So what am I trying to push forward here? Hapa I'm talking about mambo na persistence. You have to persist. You have to keep digging. You have to dig deep. You have to keep pushing. Kwa sababu huwezi jua yako iko wapi. Lazima uendelee. Kama umeamua ni business, stick to business. Endelea, until you find the thing that you're looking for. Kama umeamua ni mambo na content, dig. Chapa hiyo content hadi ikubali. Na isipokubali, ikubali. Na ikikataya, ikubali. Unaelewa? Like you are not giving yourself I have this term naitanga burning your ships, okay? Whereas you don't allow yourself to have an option. Ni hii, na kama si hii, ni hii. Na isipokuwa hii, itakuwa hii. Like you don't have any other option than to succeed, which forces you to be persistent. Lazima persist na kitu yoyote. Anything that you want in this life, lazima persist, uifanye tena na tena hadi ijipe. So as you can hear, when all these things were happening, he never gave up. He kept seeing himself as a businessman, as an investor, as a leader. Hata watu wakienda nyumbani, cause kumbuka campus, kuna wale watu wakienda nyumbani, kuna wale walikuwa wanabaki kusoma, right? but yeye juu ako passionate na yeye mambo ya biashara, amebaki shule but si kusoma, ni kutafuta a business. Okay, so persistence is key. You have to persist, otherwise you will not succeed.
Around, I decided my former MP called Kenya Karaoke, niende nikamtoanisha kitu. So I was, wakati hiyo comrade, saa hiyo nimematch kiatu ya black, of course iko na vubi, na trouser ya black, na shati ya black. Sasa unajiona umematch ile mbaya. Na nimebeba bahasha. As usual, sijui kwa nini, when you are a student in campus or after you finish, you always carry a CV as a default setting. So I was carrying a brown envelope.
Messi kwa ibeba CV.
But I was going there kumuonyesha he can rely on me in terms of kura za mayouths.
Right.
So that anipatie kitu, inipatie fare ya kukaa Nairobi. So nikapata a meeting. I was told you can leave your CV. But I was not going there to look for a job. I was going there to look for money, cheap money. Then later on, he called me within that week. And I went to his office. And akaniuliza, kijana ulikuwa unatafuta kazi? Kamwambia, yes sir. When do you want to start? Today sir. Nikaanza kazi hapo ya stockbroking. The reason I've given all that background is because I do stockbroking up to today. And that is the basis where I learned investments. Raw investments, especially in the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So whatever you read about Kenya Power, that is the genesis of me buying shares.
Yes. So, then, the next thing. Tumeongea kuhusu, just start. Tumeongea kuhusu, be passionate. And then, be patient. The fourth thing that I got from this is about experience. Okay? If you want to get to where you want to get to, you must accept that experience is key. Okay? Kwa sababu anasema nimefika hapa hii mambo ya investment because of where I started. Hakuanza kama amekuwa the Ndindi Nyoro that we all know, uyo guru wa stocks. He started somewhere. And through that experience, through all his experiences, he was able to become. So, because kama me, I'm a young person, okay? And sometimes I get frustrated when things don't, like, hazingiani. And I'm sure so many of us young people tuko on the same boat. Yani umejaribu kitu, umejaribu, but inakataa kuingiana. And you give up. Okay? But what we don't realize is the people you look up to. Ndindi Nyoro is older. Okay? Amefika mahali kwenye akona experience. And of course, experience is not about your age, really. It's about how long have you been doing that thing. You have to be experienced. Or you have to hire someone who is experienced if your business is going to succeed. Kenya, watu wa business, you don't like to hire experience. You don't like to hire people who know their things. You just want to hire the cheap people. And you pay for that. So when you put in your business, eka mtu mwenye akona experience. Alright? If you cannot afford someone who is experienced, then you have to be able to unakubali kwamba I will take my time to make this person experience so that tupate your value. Because sometimes watu wanaanzisha biashara, they don't necessarily think about the value that the people they are bringing in bring. Wao no anataka mtu tu wa kusimama hapo, mtu tu mwenye atauza, mtu tu mwenye, but uko like some of these people you put in your business, they destroy your business because they don't know how to talk to customers, they don't know anything about your business, they don't know how to communicate to your customers. Wanakuharibia biashara and you have no idea because you put someone who is not experienced. And you as the business person, it's okay not to be experienced, but also you have to understand, okay, sina experience, I will wait to gain, or I will search for that experience. So don't give up just because you're not experienced. You can either hire someone who is experienced, or ukubali kupitia hayo mambo. And the reason why you have to be persistent is because you are not experienced, right? You have to get to somewhere where you are experienced with what you are doing, so that sasa ufike hiyo level yenye unataka kufika. Okay, so experience is a very important asset in business and also in life and also in investments. Lazima kama hujui mambo na investment, hebu tafuta mtu mwenye akona experience hapa kule, kaa hapo sikia. And that is why we are even listening to Ndindi Nyoro in the first place. It's because he has experience in investment. So akiongea kuhusu investment, you have to listen. You understand? So when you do something, ukileta mtu akufixie stima, you want someone who is experienced. Hutaki tu work. When you go to the hospital kutibiwa, unataka daktari mwenye. Some of us, we want older doctors because we are like, oh, kama huyu ni mzee, he must be experienced. So you have to accept experience is a very important ingredient in success. And if you are a young person, it's okay not to be experienced. That is why you need to be persistent, because you're going to fail. And you're going to fail again and again and again. And if you don't have the kama una hiyo nyama, kama you don't have that toughness ya ku weather the storm, you're not going to make it. So experience is very, very important.
I'm sure some of you have read something about it. In terms of investing in Kenya Power, investing in the Nairobi Securities Exchange, that is my genesis. Later on, of course, started an IT company. We now, as politicians, we may not go into details, but I do business in IT, in financial services, majorly IT and financial services. I think was ibaki hapo. So business, you are a businessman. What's the distinction between a businessman and an entrepreneur? A businessman seeks to expand the business they are doing. My brother here is in oil industry. As a businessman, you are looking at how many gas stations or fuel stations we will have. An entrepreneur becomes more innovative and branches further from just deepening the business they are doing in terms of extracting more from it into being creative and innovative to venture into other sectors. So you could actually pass and say, a businessman seeks to expand whatever they know. An entrepreneur now goes further, even beyond what they know. Na mimi nikiangalia hapa naona nyinyi ni watu werevu. So sitafafanua vitu sana. Nikipitia hivyo najua mnashika maneno. An investor is what I'll talk about later because it's an area that I really enjoy. But
hapo ni tunasikia mambo ya passion. What you enjoy is what.
And this investor, what's the difference? In most cases, an investor will do, or the money for the investor will fetch them money passively. Is where you don't wake up in the morning to go check how your shop is doing. That's somebody else's business. You put in your money there, it's doing something for you. That is the bare, using superlatives, that is the top line definition. I want to talk about just a few basics.
So anasema investor ni ule mwenye anapata passive income. Yani si lazima afanye kazi ndio pesa iingie. Yeye tu ameweka pesa mahali, ana expect pesa yake irudi.
Because I've started many businesses also. Just some basics we may note here, and especially those who say they are huge business people. I saw your ads. You said you are doing very well in business, but for now, it is in the mind. Just for now, it is in the mind. One of the basic.
And this is what we are saying. The first important thing is just start. Ndio number 1. Just start. Hiyo mambo ya business in the mind.
I have seen it is important. As you start a business, you don't start a business because the other person started. You start a business because there is a gap. Gap may be in terms of demand. Gap may be in terms of geography. It could be the same product, it is somewhere else, but it's not yet in a geographical area that you are seeking to establish. That could also be a gap. Value creation. You can make money faster through creating value than through extraction. Many times you want to do business to extract money from people's pockets. And that is why you realize, and especially in a church setup, when you do business, you want people to sympathize with you because you go to the same church to buy you a product for that reason. That is not a reason enough. Just because I know you and you are my relative, you ought to create value. It is me who should be looking for your product. You shouldn't overconfident.
Okay. That's the 5th thing. Value creation. Value creation. Okay? Whatever you do, okay? If you want to make money, you have to create value. Just as simple as that. Hakuna pesa unaunda without creating value. Value can be in terms of content. For example, this is content I'm giving you. It's educational. Okay? It could be entertainment content. Value can be in terms of, I've made something more convenient for people to consume. I've made something easier for people to consume. Okay? So, hiyo kitu yenye umeanzisha pale. That's why he's saying, usianzishe kitu kwa sababu mwenzako tu alianzisha. Kama umefungua M-Pesa, na mko M-Pesa 5 kwa the same line, what's your value? What value are you creating in that space, in that area? Una create value gani? Kama mko salons 10? Because he's saying, looking for a gap. You have to find a gap. Okay? And for you to look for a gap, you have to ask yourself, what is the problem? You have to be solving a problem. That's how you create value, by solving an issue of a geographical area or or an issue that Kenyans are having. Because most people, investment, utanunua matatu, utafungua M-Pesa shop, utafungua salon, utafungua duka. But if you look in that area of yours, kuna watu 10 wako na hiyo M-Pesa, watu 10 wako na hiyo salon, watu 10 wako na hiyo duka. So what value are you creating? Ukienda Tao, maduka za viatu zimejaa. Maduka za electronics, kuuza laptops zimejaa. So what if you want to start an IT thing? What's your value creation? What's your value proposition? Because if you don't have value, money itself, pesa, is value. Okay? It's a representation of value. So if you want money, you must in turn give value. So if you want to be successful in business, entrepreneurship, and investment, look for value. Okay? If you are investing, invest company yenye iko, you can clearly see it's not okay. Unaelewa? So you have to look for value. If you are starting a business, ensure your business iko na value. If you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to solve a problem, ensure it's a problem that needs to be solved. See, because you get confused. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to solve a problem. But iko like, yo shida yenye unataka kusolve. Uko sure ni tunataka isolviwe. For example, you can invent an easier way to eat food. Labda sasa helicopter itakuwa inatulisha. But iko like, is that a problem that needs to be solved? So when you kama unataka kuwa entrepreneur and you have identified a problem, you have to ask yourself, does that problem need to be solved before you waste your time? So you must always look for value. If it's a problem that needs to be solved and you have identified, oh okay, if I solve this problem, itatoa maziwa, then go for it. If you are a business person na unataka kufungua duka ya kitu, hapo kwenye unataka kufungua hiyo kitu ni kitu inahitajika. If you want to kufungua nini ya viatu, duka ya viatu, watu wanataka viatu hiyo area. Can they get those shoes that you are selling somewhere else for cheaper? Kama unafungua M-Pesa, na what will you be doing that all these 5 other people wenye wako pale wako na M-Pesa and they will not be doing? Kama unafungua duka, ni nini hiyo utakuwa unauza kwa hiyo duka enye haezi enda 5 steps hapo? If you're investing, usi-invest tu biashara juu umeambiwa hiyo shares, unajua shares, wewe nunua tu shares. Tununue shares za Kenyari, tununue shares za Nomias, tununue shares za Safaricom. Just because watu wanaongea kuhusu kununua shares ama kununua bonds ama kununua bills does not mean that you have to do it. Because you have to sit down and ask yourself, is there value in this thing that I want to buy? What's the value of those Safaricom shares? How is this Safaricom doing as a business? Are they creating value? If they are not, don't give them your money. Your money will go. Mtu akikuja akikwambia nipe pesa nianzishe biashara, mwambie sawa, unataka kuanzisha biashara ya nini and how are you going to do it? Mahesabu utahandle aje hizi mahesabu? If hana jibu, wewe biashara yako sawa, wewe anzisha biashara, good luck. If they don't know how they are going to use your money, mtu anakuambia nataka 50,000 nifungue nianze kuweka nguruwe. Okay, niambie how are you going to start? Unajua niliambiwa ukiwa na 50,000 unaweza anzisha biashara mzuri sana ya nguruwe. Okay, so utatumia aje hiyo 50k? Unajua sasa nguruwe inahitaji 50k kuanzisha. How are you going to use that 50k of mine if I give it to you? We unajua niko na beste yangu hapa, aliniambia pale naweza pata nguruwe cheap, naweza pata feed cheap, naweza pata tu kama mfanyikazi wa 5k akwe anaosha, akwe na unajua nguruwe haitaki chakula, unaokota tu kitu yoyote tu kwa barabara, unaokota tu hata kwa pipa unaipatia, inakuwa kubwa, tunapeleka hapa Kenya KMC, tuna nini unaanzisha. Usipatie huyo mtu pesa yako because he has told you nothing. He does not even understand what business anafanya. So the fifth thing I need to learn hapa ni look for value or create value. Value equals money. Value equals money. Tuendelee.
Convince me simply by appealing to the soft side of how we know each other. That means there are some victims here. The other thing, bookkeeping. These things, they sound very banal. They sound easy.
Okay, number 6. Bookkeeping. Always know your numbers. What we say? Always know your numbers. Kama kuna mtu anakuambia sijui pesa venye ilienda. When you want to invest in a business, look at that business numbers. When you want to start a business, ensure your numbers make sense. So, anasema bookkeeping. To me, I understand it as know your numbers. Always know your numbers. What is inventory? What is gross income? What is profit? What is net? Unaelewa hizo terms zote. You don't even have to know what those terms mean. You just have to know profit ni nini, gani unatumia for kazi, what do I want to say? Capital. Okay? Ni ngapi unatumia kazi? Ni ngapi make pesa yako? Toa pesa ya kazi, hii ndio profit, hii ndio ya kulipa watu. Always know your numbers. If you do not know your numbers, your business is going to fail. If you do not look at a business numbers, you are not going to be able to make the correct decision. So, number 6 is know your numbers.
Bookkeeping. There is a story I keep giving all the time, and I'll give it. There is a time, me and my siblings, tukaenda nyumbani. Of course, we have a cow like all of you in Mashinani, or we had. So my mother anatembea Nairobi, siwezi lala hapa, nani atakamua ng'ombe?
My journey to the US was not easy.
All the time anaumwa na mgongo, nini? Ng'ombe. So siku moja tukaenda, kamwambia Madheka hapa chini, kuja na kalamu. Hebu tuone hii ukulima yako inakufikisha wapi? Unapeleka kwa dairy how many liters? These liters. Okay. Ukiendea, unapeleka dairy, then unaendea chakula ya ng'ombe kwa dairy. Hata hiyo arrangement iko hapa Nyeri. So you are given the net after wametoa chakula. Hiyo net unalipa mfanyikazi mwenye alikusaidia siku 2-3. Na unalipa pahali umekoboa you have leased some land for Napier grass. After we did the math, we realized, I'm using that as a businessman. This is a businessman, a farmer, you can say now, in agro processing or something like that, to sound sophisticated. Now, after kufanya hesabu, we realized the M-Pesa we sent home to my mother, we don't send her money. We said what? We said the cow. Only that we use her phone. Because after doing that math, it taught me one thing that we all do, especially owners of small businesses. We never track our progress. So we never know whether we are...
Yes, so unapata kuna watu kazi yao ni kulisha biashara. They find money out. If you have to take money from somewhere else to feed your business, there is something going on. Okay? Your business should be self-sustaining. Additional capital should be either to expand your business or just for a short, kuna aka short term you need to. But if you have to always copper, you have to always ask people for money just to sustain your stock, then there's something wrong with your business. Your business is not self-sustaining. So you have to always know your numbers.
Mark timing, or we are making progress. And the best way to do that is to use data. Data could be in terms of number of customers served, in terms of bottom line. Me, I like looking at bottom line. After all is said and done, it is not if you are a person doing oil, Your business is not to fuel other people's cars. Your business is to make
Money. It's about the money. The bottom
In
line is what
economics class, we
matters.
say, it is not out of the benevolence of the baker that we enjoy our daily bread. It is out of their selfish interest to make.
And that is a key issue yenye pia mi nimeona with most businesses hapa Kenya. Tunakuwa very sentimental about our businesses. We are like, oh, unajua hii kitu nilianzisha, I've been doing this for 20 years. But you look at it and you're like, you look at the books and you're like, you have not made anything in those 20 years. You have not put aside anything. Yani kazi yako tu imekuwa kurinse, kurepeat. Una make pesa tu kumake fare na chakula na rent. Nothing else. That's not business. That could as well be an employment. You get what I'm saying? So like you have to look at your numbers and be objective. Ukiweka emotions kwa biashara, it's going to be very tough. So when you're looking at your numbers, look at the numbers that matter. Because pia kuna watu wenye pia wanaangalia numbers zao, lakini wanaangalia tu, they look at the gross, how much they make, but they don't look at kenye inaingia kwa mfuko ndo ina matter. Your profit is what matters, not how much you are making. Because kuna watu watakwambia, oh, mimi nimemake 500,000. But if you, after all expenses and everything, unapata mtu hata haingishi 10k kwa mfuko. So kenye inaingia kwa mfuko, that's what matters. That's what he's referring to as the bottom line. So you have to know your numbers and know the numbers that matter. Usikue mtu wa numbers, wewe unajua kucalculate, unajua all the, but you don't understand which numbers matter. If you are in business, profit is what matters. If you are an investor, kuna dividends na interest rate. Those are the numbers that matter. So you always have to look at the end of the day, which number matters to you as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, or as an investor.
Make money. That we get Ken Blessed coming to our local shopping center every day. And in the economic interaction, selfishness is what bites the economy.
Yes.
If I am a matatu there seeking to make money, and me I open a hardware seeking to make money, that interaction of the market is what creates the economy. So as you start your small business early enough, track progress so that you actually know whether you are overstaying in a redundant area for too long.
Yes.
My work is easy.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's how I keep track of all my tasks.
That's what I'm saying, because some people umekuwa ukifanya the same business for over 20 years, for over 10 years. But na umekuwa ukituambia venye, oh, unajua imekuwa ikifanya biashara inakuanga hivi, ups and downs. But if you look at this person's numbers in terms of profit, he has not been making anything. She has not been making anything. You have to look at the numbers that matter, which is your profit. Is your profit growing? If your profit is not growing, then that's the wrong business. Because for some people, yes, your expenses are growing, but your profits are shrinking. So if your profits are shrinking, then you have an issue.
Limited by what we know in the mind hapa. But do you know now with internet, there is a lot you can do.
Yes.
You look at market, whatever product you come up with, and please, especially those whose businesses are in the mind, polish your idea slightly further. Don't just do a business. You know, kuna business tu yani unafanya unaona. You need to think deeper.
All right.
Especially
so this is number 7. Okay? And number 7 is research. Okay? That's lesson number 7. Research. Let me just write it down. So, unapata mtu anataka kuanzisha kitu. You've gotten, you have, you know what you want to start. By good grace, you get capital. And then, unaweka tu biashara anywhere. You have to research. You have to dig a bit deeper. Ujue vitu kama the location enye unaweka hiyo biashara is very important. Your supplier, your customers watakuwa kina nani? Because hata sahi ukiongea kuna watu wako na biashara wameoperate for years but they cannot tell you who their customer is, what they look like, what they like. They cannot tell you about the location of where they are at. They cannot tell you where they will be, what kesho your biashara italeta how much. They cannot tell you, they cannot project for you 1 month into the future, 2 months into the future. They have no idea about their business. So before you start anything, before you invest in anything, you must research. Fanya research yako, piga research yako. Jua unahitaji nini ku live stream, what do I need? I need a computer, I need a camera, I need lights, I need a microphone, I need, earphones. You have to have planned it out. You have to think, nahitaji nini na nini na nini. How is my live stream going to look like? So wewe pia ukianza kwa usianzishe tu biashara bana. Usiende tu kama umenunua stock, unataka kununua siri, unataka kuanzisha biashara ya siri, umeenda tu kama umenunua mahindi ama umeenda tu kama umenunua mchele. You have no idea uko mwea. Unaenda kununua mchele ndio uuze. Sasa mtu akona shamba ya nini hapo ya mchele. You have to research. Don't start any. Sai in this age, by the way, it's a very good age because we have information. Information is in abundance. ChatGPT iko hapa, internet iko hapa. Everything you need is here. So before you start something, ensure research. Ensure uko na a rough idea of, okay, I see. Ikitu ita work like this. If you don't do your research, you're going to suffer. It's going to take you longer. Because that is, kuna hii msemo inasema, is it a msemo really? Where iko like, learn from somebody's mistakes. Don't just make the mistakes. Unaona? Experience, yes, is the best teacher. But if you have the option of learning from someone's mistake, then do it. And that is by researching. When you research something, you're able to see what works, what doesn't work. So, lesson number 7 is, do your research. Usifanye tu vitu hivi. Okay? Sawa, let's hear.
Those who have not yet risked or staked their money, use more time to think than start. So that you first of all think about the market. The market may not be...
Research is very, very key.
You can see with your eyes. Study. I'm not saying you hire professionals to do that. Do basic, even with the internet. Those who are already doing business and you have some capital, focus on there is something I keep thinking about, and I also do. Look for businesses whose barrier of entry is high, almost blocked.
Yeah.
The highest margins are in businesses that have got high barrier of entry.
Yes.
Barrier of entry may be in terms of knowledge. Barrier of entry may be in terms of capital. For example, if you had 2 billion shillings in Kenya now today, and you are talking about building a real estate in terms of flats, I wouldn't, because everyone can do that. For example, if you look at banking in Kenya, yes, the core capital was increased. It has been 1 billion shillings. But do you know there are so many Kenyans with that kind of money? That is already a niche where the barrier of entry is too high. So even if there are like 40 banks, they operate like oligopolies. And that is why you realize in Kenya, unless it is totally run down, few banks make losses. I'm just making that as a cursor. Look for a business with a higher barrier of entry so that you can enjoy longer margins or bigger margins. This is the other thing I want us to really interrogate. In my village, just like yours, my former teacher retires. The first thing they do is to buy a matatu.
Right.
Or hapo kwa shopping center yetu anajenga hapo.
Yeah.
Pesa ya retire. Karibu wote. What am I trying to say? Those businesses are good. They are good because they facilitate movement and they facilitate trading. But probably even my brother and sister in the same industry, there is much more they can do around there. What am I trying to say? Kenya is also a plot country. Yani kama huna we measure your success by how many plots you have.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe we'll talk about that later. Nikienda kumaliza. By the way, I'm almost finishing. Now, allow me now these minutes because I can see here, next time, this one here, this is the lead sponsor. We would want in the next few years to come, the owner of this lead sponsor will be from this hall.
Hapo nasema amen.
And therefore allow me the remaining minutes, even if you do not understand what I'm saying, and I only talk to 2 people who will do that, I'll be satisfied.
Okay.
So if you do not understand the things I'll be saying, uniwie radhi. Because I would rather talk to 1 table who may actualize, become this, than talk to all of you and start small dots of businesses. And because we have brain and capacity to all be here, let in the next few years, there'll actually be an auction in this hall, all of us bidding to be this. I'm talking about how we must fashion ourselves in this hall to move from being net worth of $500,000, net worth of a millionaire, and because all wealth is granted by God, that we also break that ceiling. Those figures we hear of billionaires, we also aim.
Amen, amen.
Moving from that comfort, I'm trying that we move from that comfort of being a dealer for Oilibia or for Total, to being the Total yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. From being a dealer of Safaricom to being a competitor.
Right.
That's the kind of thing I'm trying to talk about. Mumeanza kuenda chini mnauliza sasa huyu mtu ni vitu gani hizo? When you want to move to that level,
Teenagers are building businesses with AI while the only AI you know is ChatGPT.
It's 2020.
you do not own 100% of your business.
Right.
There is no billionaire in the entire world who owns 100% of the business they are associated.
So this is number 8. And so how do we put this? When he talks about stakes, okay, understanding, because he's talking about expanding, okay, and what's the term? Acha niulize ChatGPT hapa 1 second. I tell you what the term that you're looking for. Okay. So whatever he's talking about hapa, I'll term it as scaling your business, okay? Scaling. Yani kufanya biashara yako ikue kubwa. Okay? And investing in your business. For you to scale your business, you have to part with some stake. Okay? So he's telling you on how you can scale your business. Okay? So he's talking about scaling. And he's saying the first thing you need to know about when you scale your business is you do not have to own 100% of your business. Allow people to come in, allow people to expand. Okay? Use other people's expertise to grow and scale your business. Because kwa scaling, that's where the billions are. In scale, not in mambo kidogo kidogo. So as you do your business, do it at scale. If you want to be ultra successful, always do your business at scale. And to do your business at scale, you have to first understand you do not need to own 100% of your business, which means you can bring in expertise and investment and give part of your business so that you can allow it to scale and grow large.
With none. Mark Zuckerberg, in terms of Facebook, in fact,
let's see, how much does Mark Zuckerberg own? Acha tuulize hapa ChatGPT. What percentage of Meta ndio the parent company for Facebook? What percentage of Meta? What percentage? 13 to 14%. And that is like a huge chunk. And he controls 60 to 61% of voting. He owns 13 to 14. Same na Elon Musk. They own, and that is like huge chunks. Most people, you'll own like, you own like 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. If it's ultra, if it's a very, very big business. So you have to understand that you don't need to own 100% of your business.
Owns 12.7% of Amazon. Elon Musk owns 13% of Tesla. Bernard Arnault, the one for Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, is the richest man in France actually. He owns 46% of LVMH. Warren Buffett, the renowned investor of Berkshire Hathaway, owns only 16% of Berkshire Hathaway. Larry Ellison, the one for Oracle, owns 35% of Oracle. Bill Gates, I talk to you now, all of you know Microsoft is owned by Bill Gates. He owns less than 1% of Microsoft. Coming to Kenya, when you ask somebody who owns Cooperative Bank, they tell you Muriuki, the CEO. He is actually from here.
He's talking about Kenya now.
5% of Cooperative Bank.
Right.
But what is 5% of Cooperative Bank? A bank with a market cap of around 20 billion Kenya shillings. 5% means he's going to over 6 billion Kenya shillings.
So basically he's saying you do not need to own 100% of your business. Focus on scaling and making your business as big as it can be, because even that small pie of the sea is bigger than a whole pond.
5%. Now you with your 100% of your business, how much is it worth? There is a friend of mine who is also my mentor. Can you tell me by a show of hands who owns Equity Bank? By a raise of hands.
It's Monga, no?
I'll pay something for that.
Is it
Naona
Munga?
Wakikuyu ni wengi hapa, mkono. Who owns Equity Bank? Munga. Very good. He's also a good friend of mine. So hata nikimkute hapa, he will not be offended. Somebody else who owns Equity Bank? Yes? Mwangi. Can you start?
Mwangi? James Mwangi?
Sitakuita hapa. Najua public speaking, you can't ambush somebody. Who owns Equity Bank? Please rise up, my sister. Who owns Equity Bank? Monga. You said Peter Monga. Now listen, my brothers and sisters. Mwangi, the CEO of Equity Bank, owns 5% of Equity Bank. And all of you told me he is actually the owner of Equity Bank.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the financial statements of Equity Bank, you realize the top shareholders of Equity Bank
Right.
are not actually not Kenyan. They are FADs, including Norwegian FAD. Do you know Peter Monga now owns less than 1% of Equity Bank?
Right.
Now, keep your 100% of your business.
So for you to scale, you don't have to own 100% of your business.
In business, and niliacha kuongea sasa mtu wa kuanza kiosk. Tumesema Mungu anatubariki to start chains. Is that so? Don't seek to own a fish pond. Seek to own just as rice of the ocean resources.
Right.
Because the fish pond utaweka net, utasweep all your resources in there, and you have to give it months. Dive into the ocean. You are just given a slice, but that slice is worth much more than having many fish pods. And how do you do that? You have a business here. Mambo yote hata nimesema ya bookkeeping is combined. You have a business. You've started, let's say, of making yogurt, making organic soap, of making whatever you may think about. Now you are already progressing. There is so much market, but you can't satisfy. Now out of your bookkeeping, you realize your business is now worth 10 million shillings. But do you know what? You are already feeling very wealthy. And you cannot release. Hii kitu nimeanza na jasho sana. Mimi siwezi leta mtu wa kunisubua. A different person, what do they do? You look for an investor and bring you 5 million shillings into that business. It's not going to your pocket. But you give them 10% of that business. Now, if you receive 5 million shillings for 10% of that business, the valuation of that business becomes instantly 50 million shillings.
Right.
You use this money to expand other markets, to expand your operations, to buy more machinery. Later on, you get another investor. Now you've already grown. Even people are noticing your brand.
Right. And this is now lesson number 9. Okay. That I got from this conference. And it is talking about structure. Okay. Structure. And this is like a very tough lesson that I think most Kenyans, we have not yet, learned. When your business starts growing and you get somewhere, do you invest in structures? Do you bring in the right people? Because some of us, we get so attached. Ndio maana tunasema tusieke emotions kwa business. You get so attached to your business and how much sweat and blood and tears you have put into it. You want to do everything yourself. You want to bring in people as cheaply as possible. You want to make as much as possible. But you will pay for it because for you to scale your business, you have to put in structures. You have to bring in the right people. Kama ni manager, eka manager. Kama ni mtu wa customer service, eka. Kama ni HR, eka. You must invest in the structure of your business, because if you're going to scale your business, if you're going to become something, you have to invest in your structure or infrastructure. for Safaricom to be the best network, telecommunication network in Kenya, ni kwa sababu wameinvest na hizo ma telephone towers. The only difference between Safaricom na Airtel hapa Kenya ni kwa sababu Safaricom have more hizo phone towers than Airtel in Kenya. That's the only difference between how good quality you get from Safaricom and Airtel. It's because Safaricom wame invest in hizo telephone towers mingi. Wameweka infrastructure. Wako na structure hapa Kenya enye inawa allow to serve a lot of people and at a good quality. What is that to say? For you, your business, usiogope kulipa mtu bana. Because kuna watu wanatumia watu vibaya sana in the name of business. You want to get people to work for you for free. Unawadanganya, unawafunza. Unawadanganya ati you bring your family members there so that you don't pay them in the name of, namtafutia kitu ya kufanya hapa Nairobi. They will bring down your business because they have no expertise. You would rather find someone who is passionate and someone who knows what they are doing rather than just putting there your family member, which is what most Kenyans here do. Unaeka mtu wa familia. Or unatafuta mtu mwenye amelemewa na maisha, unamweka hapo, umlipe 200 ama 100, akufanyie kitu, akuharibie mashini zako, your business doesn't go anywhere. Unataka kuexpand, unataka kufungua branch ingine, but instead of unataka kuweka kazini yako hapo, unataka kuweka anko yako hapo, unataka kuweka sister yako hapo, a few months later hiyo biashara una have kufunga kwa sababu umeweka mtu wa familia hajui nini anafanya. It's not that hiring family is bad, but hire expertise, hire experience, hire mtu mwenye anajua ni nini anafanya. If someone is not doing well, if someone does not know what they are doing, mutoe huyo, look for someone. So, structure. How have you structured your business? Have you actually put in the people that matter? Of course, Ndidi hapa anaongea in terms of investment, but si kila saa unahitaji pesa. Because when you ask every business person, atakwambia shida ni sina enough capital. But is that really the big problem? Sometimes you find in business, capital is actually the least of your problems. The problem is you have poor structure. Your employees are not working. They don't know what they are doing. They are bringing your business down. You think you need more money. You need to inject more money. You need to buy more things. But if you just put in the right person, anaweza kurudishia costs zako exponentially. So, number 9, structure. You have to have structure. Structure your business. Usikwe tu ati ile, ile nimeweka huyu ni wa. No. Ensure everybody knows their roles and everybody is doing their role. Kama wewe mwenye biashara, usikwe micromanager by the way. It's very hard to micromanage, especially at scale. Because we are talking about you're going to scale your business. Usi micromanage. Look for somebody who will do it better than you can. And then you do something else that you can do better than anyone else. So, structure your business. Okay?
They come in, they give you 20 million shillings, and you give them a 20% of your business. If a 20% of your business is valued at 20 million, instantly your business becomes 100 million.
Right.
So even if the percentage continues to diminish, the aggregate continues to expand. Now, umepata kazi juzi bank. You are now doing business very well as a contractor or anything else. Your first money, what do? Buy a plot. Then after buying a plot, build flats. Guys, my brothers and sisters, big companies like the one I quoted, including Equity Bank, including their own headquarters, is leased. They don't own.
Okay.
So you want to tell me, in your mind you have more CFAs, you have more actuaries, you have more financial advisors than Equity Bank? Old Mutual that bought even UAP here in Kenya. Old Mutual, you know it, is bigger in South Africa. Old Mutual, I saw in the Business Daily this week, they have put up for sale all their real estate assets.
Right.
In the entire East Africa. Wanasema, please come and buy. Hatutaki. Do you know, including that landmark tall building in Nairobi? Ile Christmas wanawekaga vitu hivi, mataa mingi tunaona huko. Hata hiyo wanauza. You can go buy. Maybe it's around 5 billion. Now, this is a company that is already divesting from real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And I am saying that with all due respect with my brothers who are in that business. I'm now talking to the buyer, not the seller. Other than the house that you live in, and other than the farm that you need, what is this plot you have in Kitegera, and the other one in Kamuru,
right,
and the other one in Kigajo, and the other one in Narumoro? Ni ya nini, ni ya kufanya nini? I am not saying that I am an oracle, but I just want to tell you, mimi sina pahali nachukuaga rent. Because you realize this business of building things, building, you are actually doing it for the satisfaction of the people who live in, not for you to make money.
All right. So now, that is the 10th one, the 10th lesson that I learned from this. Hapa anaongea kuhusu mambo ya venye watu ukipata do ni ununue shamba ujenge flats. Okay? Haujui kwa nini unajenga flats, but kwa sababu anko yako alijenga flats, kwa sababu guka yako alijenga flats, kwa sababu Kenya inajulikana ukitaka kitu ya kuinvest, jenga flats. Kwa sababu Kenya inajulikana ukitaka kuunda pesa, nunua matatu. Weka matatu kwa barabara, you make money. Kwa sababu Kenya inajulikana, ununua bonds, you'll make money. Okay? That brings me to number 10. Biashara na investment na your entrepreneurial journey is personal. Okay? Your journey is personal. Okay? Whatever is enough for you is not enough for me. Whatever worked for Mama Njeri is not what will work for Mama Wairimu. Kwa sababu watu wanajua mambo ya ploti, maguta. Does not mean you need to buy a plot. Kwa sababu kila mtu ananunua MMF. You don't need to buy an MMF. And that is why tunaongea kuhusu hizi 10 things. Okay? Those 10 things that we are talking about, by the time umepitia hizo vitu zote, you get to understand yourself. Okay? Tumesema number 1, you need to start. Start anything. Why do you need to start anything? So that you can know what are you passionate about. Okay? Once umeanzisha whatever you want to start. Oh, na feel let me cook. Nimeanza kupika. Kupika hapana. Oh, let me shona. Umeshona. Kushona hapana. Wacha niunde content. Unaunda content, wiki moja, wiki mbili, hii mambo ya content inakaa iko ngumu. Hapana. Wacha ni anzishe biashara. Let me start selling njugu. And you sell njugu and all of a sudden, everybody is buying your njugus. Okay? Or, you love, the process of selling njugu. Or the process of, okay? That's why you need to start. So that you can find out what are you actually good at, what are you passionate about. Once you discover what you are good at and once you're what you're passionate about, be persistent. Persist with it. Okay? Uifanye. Once umediscover, okay, sasa mimi ni mtu wa kuuza njugu. Uza hizo njugu hadi Kenya mzima ijue wewe ni muuza njugu. Mama Wairimo ni muuza njugu, njugu zake ziko A1. Okay? Because that's how you succeed, by being persistent. Once umekuwa persistent, then now you become experienced. Unajua mambo ya kuuza njugu. Hakuna mtu anaweza kuambia mambo ya kuuza njugu. And also, you are able to get people wenye wanaelewa biashara ya njugu. You collaborate with them. You hire a few people. Maybe kuna mtu anajua kupika cashew nuts, kuna mtu anajua kupika different types of njugu. So, you become more experienced in what you are doing. And then, you become valuable. Now, biashara yako sasa inakuwa biashara. Now, we can say, umeanzisha biashara. Because now it's not just, sasa you're not just cooking from an oven, you have a kitchen oven, uko na mtu wa delivery, uko na mtu wa kwa shop, umefungua kwa shop fulani. Yani, you have an organization going on. So, your business has value. Okay? Once your business has value, biashara ni biashara ina make sense. Hauja hire tu watu. You know what you're doing. You know your numbers. Okay? Once you know your numbers, unafanya research on how to expand. Si ku-expand tu. Si sasa kusema nitafungua ingine. Nitafungua duka ingine ya njugu. Nitafungua hapana. You're like, okay. Hii mambo ya njugu yahitaji physical location because tuko online squeezy. So, I'll start a e-commerce. Or I'll start a... Now you know your business. And you're scaling. Now after umescale, you bring in the right people. Once umefanya research yako, unajua what you need to do to scale your business, you bring in the right people. And then, inafika mahali, mtu akikuja akikwambia, tununue ploti, namwambia hapana, mimi ni mtu wa njugu. So nitauza njugu. Mtu akikuja akikwambia, nimeona we Mama Wairimo unakaa una make pesa sahi na hii mambo ya njugu. Hebu tuende tununue ploti bana. You have to invest. You have to... Hebu umesikia MMF Mama Wairimo? Hebu nunua MMF. Zina pop off sana. Bonds. Unaambia hapana. Mimi nauza njugu. Why? Because your entrepreneurial journey, your investment journey is personal. Kama wewe unajua mambo za MMF, fanya MMF bana. Ati Mama Wairimo tununue matatu tuweke, tuchange. Kama wewe unajua mambo ya matatu, nunua matatu bana. But Mama Wairimo amespend the last 5-10 years akijifunza mambo ya njugu. So kama ni ku-expand, kama ni ku-invest, I invest njugu. ama anunue something enye iko in line na mambo na njugu. Okay, all this is to tie up points zote. Point number 10, your journey is personal. Journey iandike, your journey is personal. Kama wewe ni content ni yako, usikubali kesho mtu akuambia ati kuna nimepata form ya bar, sijui tunaweza fungua klabu, ishike. If you are confident, there is something that Warren Buffett huwa anasema I do not invest in stocks I do not believe in. Sinunuangi stocks ambayo siamini ama stock ambayo sielewi. If I don't understand that business, I will not do it. Just because it worked for your neighbor does not mean it will work for you. Just because Kenyans buy land does not mean you have to buy land. Just because Kenyans build plots does not mean you have to buy plot. Your journey in investing, in business, in entrepreneur, it is personal. Ne personal. Even from your own wife or husband or children or parents. Just because your parents did it like that does not mean you have to do it like that. That's why you have to do your own research. That's why you have to find something you're passionate about. That's how you have to be persistent with something. So that because whatever you're building, hata kama ni tuseme wewe umefungua mama wa Irimo ako na njugu na mama Njogona ako na njugu. Imagine njugu za mama wa Irimo, hiyo biashara yake ni tofauti sana na njugu za mama Njogona. If you don't have this understanding of your journey is personal, you're going leo utanunua shamba, utajipata uko na mashamba 10, uko na maploti 20, uko na magari sijui, umeanzisha biashara ya matatu leo, kesho umeanzisha biashara ya basi, hiyo siku ingine uko na mabonds, hiyo siku ingine sijui uko na T-bills, hiyo siku ingine sijui uko crypto, hiyo siku ingine sijui uko, because you have no understanding of what you want and what you need. Okay? So your journey is personal. Kwa hivyo mwingine akikaa ako mbele, kama mama Njeri anakaa amesucceed, wewe ndio umeanza, imagine usitamani ya mama Njeri. Fanya hiyo yako, anza hiyo yako. Who is to say yako itaenda ikue, yako ndio inafaa kuwa international, ya mama Njeri ilikuwa tu hapa loko, but wewe ukianzisha yako itaenda international. Who is to say? But ukiona ya mama Njeri ukuwe discouraged, ukose kuanza, hautafika. You have to understand your journey is personal. Ni personal. Don't do what everyone else is doing. Okay? And those are my 10 lessons zenye nimelearn. Kama hauja watch your interview or that speech, make sure you watch it. Because this is what I have gotten. I am sure as you are watching, whatever I got is not whatever you got. You had your own points that you got. So go watch it and rewatch it and see what are your 10 things. My 10 lessons are: number 1, you have to start. Just start. No matter, answer. You don't have money, answer. You don't know how you're going to, just start it the way you can. With whatever you have, answer. After you start, chagua kitu ambaye you are passionate about. Usijiinvolve kama vitu za wenyewe. You know? And this goes to how a lot of parents here in Kenya, they tell you what you should be or what you want to do. Yes, they have the best interest at heart for you and it is good. But you have to pick a path. Enye, mambo ikikuwa ngumu, pia wewe utakuwa ngumu nayo. Yani kitu enye, ikishindikana, bado utaendelea kuifanya hiyo kitu kwa sababu you like it, or you love it, or you are good at it. Kwa hivyo, be passionate. Stay passionate at what you do. Okay? Number 3 ni ukue persistent. Be persistent. And that's why you need to be passionate. Kwa sababu things get tough. You have to get tougher. You have to push also. So, kuwa persistent with what you are doing. Persist. Okay? Don't give up. Giving up is not an option. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Keep doing it. Ikishindikana, fanya tena. Ikikosekana, fanya tena. Tena. Not enough tena. Kama si hiyo, ni hiyo. Na kama si hiyo, ni hiyo. If it will not work, it will work. You have to have that kind of mentality for you to succeed in your thing. So, you have to be persistent. Number 4, experience. Experience. You have to understand experience ni muhimu. You're never going to succeed without experience. What does that mean to you? If you're going to hire people who are experienced. Wenye wanajua ni nini wanafanya. If you don't have the capacity to hire na ni kitu unaanzisha, usijipe pressure. Juu ule mwingine anafanya ati ya ule inafanya. Kama ule ako more experienced than you, what? Experience is the best teacher. You're not going to, so you can afford to give yourself grace and time to become experienced. Okay? Experience is very key. So ni lesson number 4. Experience is key. Lesson number 5. Always look for value. Usianzishe tu kitu juu inafaa kuanzishwa. Understand why unaanzisha hiyo kitu. What's the value proposition? What problem are you solving? Unasaidia nini? Usianzishe tu kuanzisha. If you're putting your money somewhere, ensure hiyo pesa inaenda mahali. Hiyo kitu inapelekea ni kitu iko na value. Always look for value. Usianzishe tu kitu. Usipeane tu pesa yako ifanyiwe vitu na haujui ni nini. Ati tu family member amekuitisha pesa unampatia ati ya kuanzisha biashara na unajua hiyo biashara itaanguka na unampatia pesa. Look for value. Invest in value. Not just because you know the person. Unaona? Lesson number 6 ni know your numbers. Important lesson to any person who has a business, any person who has ever started anything that involves money. Your numbers has to be here. Na si tu numbers. Unajua, kuna hii tabia ya Wakenya wanasema wanajua numbers, wanajua calculations. But if you look at what they are telling you, those numbers don't matter. Know the numbers that matter. Na kenye ina matter ni kenye inaingia kwa mfuko. Unaona kenye inaingia at the end of the day. Kama una make 1 million, lakini after kila kitu imekatwa, after umelipa kila kitu, after umepeana 10,000 ndo inaingia. Wewe una make 10,000. Not 1 million. Unaenda ukiambia watu una make 1 million, lakini kwa mfuko yako ni 10,000 inaingia. So, know the numbers that matter, not any number. Usikue taken mtu akikwambia sijui Equity is a 120 billion company, lakini ukiangalia mahesabu zao unapata they made a loss or profit yao ni ya 2 million. Know the numbers that matter. If your business profit mwezi ilikuwa 5k, next month ikakuwa 10k, next month ikakuwa 20k, next month 50k, 100k, that is a growing business. Lakini kama ilikuwa 5k, then ikaenda 2k, then 1k, then ikajump to 3k, then ikarudi back to 500, that is not a growing business. Those are the numbers that matter, not just any number. Kwa sababu mtu atangalia, last time nili spend 50k, this time nime spend 100, next time nime spend 200, so my business must be growing. But iko like umespend because your expenses are increasing. Unaangalia bank account yako, unaona pesa inaongezeka, but unasahau your expenses pale hujaondoa expenses. So you have to know your numbers, but the numbers that matter, not just any number. Numbers that matter. Okay? Hiyo ni number 6. Number 7, do your research. Usiweke tu M-Pesa juu kila mtu anaeka, please. Fanya research. Jua kwa nini hii live stream inafanyika in this way. What do I have to do? Sasa si ati nianze kufanya live stream kama Ogaobina because Ogaobina anafanya live. I need to do my research. I need to know what works and what doesn't, and why, and what works for me. Okay? So before you start anything, or as you start, mimi sitasema before. Mimi nasema anza kwanza and then research. Okay? Do the thing. As you do the thing, ensure you are researching. Don't just go in blindly. Usichukue 1 million uende unini. Kabla uweke hiyo 1 million into something, do your research. Okay? Do your research. Usiende hapo useme sikujua. It's your job to know. It's your job to know. Okay? Number 8. Scale. For you to scale your business, you do not have to own 100% of your business. The business that makes sense is the business that you can scale. Kama huwezi fungua M-Pesa shops 10, don't do it. Or if you do it, wejua tu, no ni biashara tu ya. If you are looking for something that you can scale, let it be something that you know, I'm okay not owning 100% of this thing. I can put in different people. I can put in watu wanisaidie na nitakuwa sawa nayo. Si ati unataka kumicromanage, unataka kuwa kwa hii M-Pesa ya huko, unataka kuwa kwa M-Pesa yenye kotao. In your day, your job is traveling. It's not even managing your M-Pesas. Wewe ni uko Kasarani, uko Mwiki, uko Kaa West, umeenda Tao. Siku inaisha tu, we kazi yako ni fair. Kazi yako tu ni kulipa watu, kulipa fair. So you have to be okay. Kuambia ule wewe uko nitakuwa na kulipa a percentage of whatever that M-Pesa shop brings, because watakufanyia kazi vizuri. Okay? So you have to understand, for you to scale your business, si lazima you own 100% of that business. Okay? And number 9, structure. Hiyo inatie na kuscale your business. When you scale your business, as you scale, as unakuwa mkubwa, ensure you put in the right people. Usiweke watu wa familia. I beg. Don't put family members there. Don't put people you know there. Don't put just because they are cheap. You get what you pay for, or what you don't pay for. So don't put people just because they are cheap, or just because you know them, or you're doing a favor. Ensure your structure iko. And the other thing, number 10, hii mambo ni personal, by the way. Just because yule ameongea mambo ya billions doesn't mean you have to do billions. Wewe unaweza kuwa tu, mimi nataka tu niweke tu ka kiosk hapa, kibandaski, iweze tu kunilipa tu matumizi yangu ya kuishi, niko sawa. If that is the business you want to do that business. Usipewe pressure na watu wanataka sijui kununua matatu 10 million. If all you need or all you want is just passive income ya ku take care of your your day-to-day needs, then you don't have to take all the risks of sijui kuweka pesa wapi yenye inaweza potea. If all you want ni kabiashara tu kadogo kakuwekea tu watu wa familia, watoto wako, then you don't have to do all the risks and all the risky things. So what number 10, what the point is, your journey is personal. Whatever you want, hata kama mko in the same industry, hata kama it's the same thing you're doing with someone else, it is so different, because what will bring me satisfaction is not what will bring you satisfaction. So as you chase your dreams, as you become that business person, as you do the investments that you want to do the things that you need, don't be greedy. Fanya ile yenye wewe unataka, ile yenye wewe you need, ile yenye you're comfortable with. Don't do something that you're not comfortable with. Okay? Now, those are my 10 lessons. Tell me in the comments, do you agree? Do you disagree with my lessons? What did you learn from this interview, and if from this speech? And if you would like to hear me break down another video like this, tell me which one. And if you enjoyed this segment, please like and subscribe. Hapo ndio mimi nitamalizia. My name is Legend, and see you in the next one.